How many keys have I already presented? Number 1 is philosophy, and the second one is pedagogy, and the third is professionalism. And remember what I asked you to, I said we're going to do at the end. We will go back to that slide and answer the question, which of these keys would make you good as a teacher and which ones would make you great? Professionalism is the next one. And how do we define this? Anyone who would like to? Jen, would you like to invite a student or two to answer?
Sir, si ano po? Minella Marie Mendoza.
Minella. Hello, Minella.
Hello po, good afternoon po.
Likewise. So what is professionalism?
For me po, professionalism is you will depende po dun sa trabaho mo or dun sa for example, you're a teacher. So your professionalism depends dun po sa environment po ng trabaho mo. For example, na sa mga balita na hindi mo pwedeng saktan yung mga bata. Kasi as a professional, dapat po kung ano lang yung naka-include dun sa trabaho mo, yun lang dapat yung gawin mo. You will act depend on your work po.
All right. Thank you. And maybe have another one. What do you think is professionalism? Do we have one more?
Okay po, sir. Si Glico. Glico
Glico.
Hana. Glico Hana.
Glico? Unique name. Glico.
Surname niya po, Glico Hana.
Hana is the first name. Okay.
Andyan po si Hana. Ayan, mukhang wala po, sir. Si ano na lang po, Mary Liana Magbitang.
Mary?
Magbitang.
All right. You have the floor, Mary.
Ayan, sir. May nag-raise na lang po ng hand. Yun na lang po, sir.
Okay. I'm sorry, I could not
Sige
see
po,
them.
si Arancar po.
Okay. Alan?
Mark Paulo Parantar.
Mark Paulo.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. I think the definition ng professionalism po is staying true with the vision and mission and the goals nung pong pinagsiservan mo na lugar. So kung ang profession mo nga, for example, ay teacher, so what is the vision, mission, and goals of being a teacher? So yun po, staying true to that is professionalism po.
All right. I love that. Staying true with your mission and vision. Is that the next word that you gave? Staying true with your mission and vision.
Yes po.
That's
Mission,
professionalism.
goals.
All right. And how do I explain professionalism? This. Competence or skills expected of a professional. So as a teacher, there are certain competencies and skills that are required of us, and we are expected to manifest or show them or deliver. And I happen to have written also an article on professionalism among teachers. And for those who would like to see what I say about professionalism among teachers, you can check that article in my website also. And aside from the competence and skills, the third one is that. Although, of course, when we talk of excellence, that is also competence. And later on, we're going to answer the question, when do we say that the teacher is competent? What are the things that he should be able to do, or they should be able to do, in order for them to be considered competent? And on top of the competence, the different skills that you should have as a teacher, there is also a certain kind of behavior that you should manifest. There are things that you should and should not do as teachers. We should do and not do as teachers. And by the way, some of these definitions that you are seeing, I'm sorry I could no longer acknowledge my sources, but some of them I borrowed from certain articles. Most especially this one. It is a multidimensional structure, professionalism, that is, consisting of a person's attitudes and behaviors toward their job. I specifically use a different color for this part, the pronoun, because you might be seeing that this is a person and this should be his. I'm using the singular they here. All right. That's why this is there. There's such a thing as singular they, and I hope that you as teachers, when you write, you stop using his/her. Just use they, and that is already acceptable. In case you haven't, if you notice, for example, in Instagram, you will see change their profile. Have you noticed that? I think even in Facebook, you will see that comment once in a while, or that status that so and so changed their profile, even if it's only one person, because they can also be singular. And there are certain dimensions of professionalism that you should take note of. And number one is competence. So if you're going to summarize now, what is professionalism? It will boil down to these two, competence and behavior. And when we talk of the competence dimension, here are the things that are expected of us as teachers. You remember the items that we presented after I mentioned about lesson plan? You should also consider right now, imagine the paradigm that I have shown you, teaching, pedagogy, teaching, learning. What are the three components? What are the three sides of the pyramid? I mean, the three parts of the pyramid that I have shown earlier. One we have right here is the objectives. Then on top, we have the strategies and then testing. So everything that you do as a teacher, you should take note of this. Do you have the right skills in setting the objectives? Are you familiar with the different kinds of activities that you should set in pursuit of the strategies that you are supposed to use as a teacher? And never forget that at the end, you should be able to assess the learning. These are the pedagogical skills that you should have as a teacher. And number two, it's very important. Applies technology in teaching. And this is where we have an issue with the two groups of teachers that we have. We have teachers who belong to the so-called digital natives. And if you heard the digital natives, those who were born in the 1985 and up, and teachers like me who were born 1984 below, we are the opposite of digital natives. Do you know the term? Anyone who can give me the term? Digital natives, and the other one is like me. I am a digital immigrant because I was born in the period where there were no computers. And sometimes teachers who are considered digital immigrants would drop that as the reason for not embracing technology. We cannot possibly do that. Whenever you are born, even if you were born in the 1920s and you're still alive and you're teaching, then you have no choice but to embrace technology. You should be able to teach both in both face-to-face and online. You can do You can help the students if you're going to deliver the lesson asynchronous or synchronous. You should know how to do blended learning and all these stuffs. Okay. By the way, in the university where I'm teaching now in South Korea, teachers are given a choice of teaching asynchronous or synchronous. Like in my case, I do synchronous teaching. I require my students to attend at a particular period in a week for a certain number of minutes. Other professors are allowed to, the other professors chose to do it asynchronous, like they are just going to um, upload certain videos in the university's portal, and the students could open those videos anytime that they want within the week, because we divide our periods that way, weekly. So the students should be able to open those videos and do whatever activities were required of them, in that particular week. But I'm not a believer of that. I'm sorry, but I just want to be honest. I feel like I am shortchanging my students when I do asynchronous. I really would like to meet my students online, see them, and ask them to do the activities actually. Because when we do asynchronous, how sure are we that the students are really the ones doing the assignments, the homework? Are the parents not doing it for them? But now that we are about to go back to face-to-face, one skill that teachers need to have now is that they should be able to do blended learning, a combination of the traditional and the use also of technology. And when we go back to face-to-face teaching, we're going to do it here in the university where I'm teaching in the month of April. I will do blended learning. I will no longer be giving my students any piece of paper, but all the quizzes, assignments, whatever homework or graded activities that that I will be requiring them to do, we've got to use technology. In my case, I'm using Google Forms. For each of my students, I have this electronic portfolio that I call. Each of my students have their own folders, Google folders. Whatever assignments, whatever homework that I require them to do, they have to drag and drop in those folder. I just cannot risk giving them papers, then I might have the virus, they get it from me, or vice versa. They might have the virus, and when they hand me the paper, and boom, I'm infected by the virus. That's why right now I am thinking really of delivering blended learning. And going back to this, that is the kind of competence that you should have as a teacher. The question is, can you teach both F2F and online? If the school will tell you to do asynchronous learning or teaching, will you be able to do it? If they ask you to do it blended, will you be able to do also? And the third one, you should be able to connect topics to other discipline. This is part of the competence that you should have as a teacher. And Never forget that part of your competence as a teacher is you being able to anchor on the foundations of education. And what are these foundations? Philosophy, psychology, sociology, and legal. We also have the legal foundations of education. I don't know which ones are included in your curriculum, but if I were to design a curriculum for education students, I would include those foundations of education. Philosophy, psychology, sociology, legal. I hope I did not miss anything. Are you still with me, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And with regards professional, the behavior dimension, this is what we have. It's more than proper manner and decorum. The behavior dimension. And what do I mean with this? Because these are the things that cover behavior dimension. And one of you mentioned about the first one who answered, sorry, I could no longer recall the name. You call that ethical standards. Every profession has this so-called code of ethics, and you should be familiar with this. That's why I'm pretty sure that STI also gave you this code of ethics among teachers. And when you go out for your practice teaching, you should remember all those things that you were made to learn in the code of ethics. And this, to me, is a very important matter, establishing good rapport with students. And I always ask myself, when students talk about me, what do they say behind me? You should be very conscious of that. You should be asking yourselves, especially when finally you become teachers yourselves. You should always remember that. And what do you want your students to talk about you when you're not present? Good or bad? It depends on the kind of behavior you're going to show them. It depends also on the kind of rapport that you develop with them. And the third one, don't forget orientation to community interest. And this reminds me of, would you like to get vaccinated or not? This is my issue. I'm sorry. Let me just mention this, and forgive me for this if you disagree with me. Community interest. We are all binded by what we call the social contract theory. I don't know if you are familiar with that. That you don't live by yourself. You live in a society, and you have a contract that you're not going to think of yourself only, but to think of other members of society. That is the social contract theory. You should also read that. And yeah, it is your right not to get vaccinated. It's your body. But what about the people around you? What if you are infected? Or what if you get infected? So that's my take on this one. We are all under contract. We have this social contract theory, and we should not think only of our freedom, but also how me enjoying my freedom would affect the people around me. And as a teacher, don't ever stop learning. Keep learning. And as you heard me say earlier, I am an advocate of self-improvement, and that is how we keep learning. Self-improvement. I tell you this, and you should bear this in mind, and you should also be telling your students about this. Not everything can be taught by the school. If, for example, we say that there are 100 things that a person should learn, how many of the 100 can the school teach us? I don't know if it is even 20%. That's why if you think that after graduation, you're done with learning, then you're missing a lot of things. You're missing out on a lot of things. That's why I hope that you're going to also embrace personal growth and development. We have this topic, one of the subjects that probably you're going to have if you're going to take your master's, about lifelong learning. So I hope you too would embrace self-improvement, personal growth and development. And we're down to the fourth one. And I think we're almost done. It's give me just 10 more minutes and we'll be finished. And this is patience. And this is one of the things that we should be able to do as teachers. Stretch our patience, isn't it? And we define patience as this one. This is from, I think, Merriam-Webster. Patience is the ability to wait or to continue doing something despite difficulties. And of course, as teachers, we don't stop working after the class. There are more work to do. And that is only one of the examples of difficulties that we encounter as teachers. We have to be patient. There, to suffer without complaining or becoming annoyed. As teachers, we have a lot to complain about, isn't it? And the ultimate complaint about teachers, of course, is about the pay. And that I understand. But we just have to be patient. There will come a time when you are able to acquire all these other degrees, all these other learnings, when you acquire all these skills that would make you earn more. They keep saying that nobody becomes rich when they teach, but I beg to disagree. It depends on what courses you finished and where are you teaching. If you are able to do other things aside from on top of that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. Somebody's sending me messages through Facebook.
Sir, excuse me po.
Yes.
Meron pong another live po kasi po hindi po dinig kanina. Pero po yung isa pong recent po na live, dinig na po yung audio.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Apo, ngayon po okay na.
Okay.
Iba pong live, sir. Sensya na po.
It's okay. No problem. And this is what I said earlier. And of course, the other challenges that we encounter as teachers come mostly from our students. And you can see in the next sentence, not all learners are like sheep, easy to shepherd. Some are like colts, young and wild. Remember the raptors in that picture that I have shown you? That must be carefully domesticated and trained firmly but lovingly. Especially those who among you decided to take elementary education. I know some of you major in elementary education. And the last one. So how many already do we have? We have number 1, philosophy. Number 2, pedagogy. Number 3, professionalism. And number 4, patience. And this is the 5th one, passion. Passion with a lowercase p and passion with uppercase P. That is the best way to explain what passion is. It is a strong feeling of enthusiasm or excitement for something or about doing something. And modesty aside, I would say that, let me say it that way. One of the best comments that I have ever received from a student is this: "Sir, why do you seem to be happy when you are teaching?" That's the best comment that I have heard from my students. Actually, it's not one of the best comment, but the best one for me. When my student, one of my students, and the name is Joy, but a male. That is only the English name, but he is Korean. I was surprised after the class. He approached me before he exited and told me, "Sir, why do you seem so happy when you're teaching?" And that's it. I just love what I'm doing. That's the only reason for that. And why is passion important in teaching? Because that is how we inspire students. When they see, no matter how hard the topic that you're discussing, and they also encounter difficulties trying to understand what you're discussing, but they can see how much effort are you exerting, they will be inspired. They may not be inspired by the topic that you're discussing, but they would be inspired by the way that you are conducting yourself. That no matter how difficult things are, you are there trying to lead them, to guide them in learning. And that's it. Do you agree with me? Passion is what distinguishes a teacher from Google. Why? What do I mean with this? Students can learn, get all those information from the Google, isn't it? How different are you from that as a teacher? Are you just parroting the information that you also get from Google, from the book? Or are you transferring the knowledge to them in a way that they can see passion, that they can see sincerity in what you're doing as a teacher? So please remember that. Be different from the Google, because if you are just an extension of the Google, then the students will just stay at home and browse in the internet and no longer attend your classes. And what about passion with a capital P? Because this is actually what we do as teachers. I am sorry for those who do not believe in the existence of our Lord Jesus Christ. This may not be for you. Like Jesus, teachers have to carry their cross. All right? And let us review. What are the keys to effective teaching that we discussed? Are they? And now we go back to that slide that I said we're going to go back to earlier. Which of these keys to effective teaching would make teachers good, and which ones would make them great? As we said, it takes more than knowledge to become a teacher, a lot more to become a good one, and a whole lot more to be great. And which of this will make them good, and which of this will make them great? Of course, there's no right and wrong answer for this, but if you're going to ask me, patience and passion would make a teacher great. The philosophy, pedagogy, and professionalism will make them good. I don't know if you agree with me, but that's my take on this one. Philosophy, pedagogy, professionalism are the keys to effective teaching that will make a teacher good, but patience and passion are the ones that would make a teacher great. And some parting thoughts? All great teachers are passionate. How I wish that in the future, I will hear another Joy that would tell me, "Sir, why are you so happy when you teach?" This is the reason why I say, as far as I'm concerned, that passion and patience are the ones that will make you good, because these are matters of the heart and soul. You cannot be a teacher if you are not willing to walk the extra mile. That's what I would like to tell you, those who are aspiring to become teachers. That's why if you are not willing to walk an extra mile, then perhaps you may want to reconsider the career that you would like to pursue. Because if you don't have patience, if you don't have passion, you cannot be a teacher. It will be very difficult.